All right, we're going to have a chat about the challenge and what for you guys to expect. So I think the first thing is there's been a lot of questions over the last day or two. So Ross, what sort of questions have people been asking you?
Just asking what they should be doing already. I think they're putting too much focus on big changes too quick. So initially, just logging their weight, tracking their food.
That's it.
Yeah,
Week
that's
one.
it.
And the reason why we're doing that is there's loads of myths around diet, nutrition, things like that, and what actually works. And best case scenario is, let's say you just track your weight, you get your average weight for the week, you track your food, and it's down a pound. You haven't changed anything bar just those habits of tracking. So you're basically making the minimal amount of disruption on your life and getting results. And that's like, a win-win. Not to say that's going to happen to everyone, but the goal is what sort of changes do we need to make, rather than saying here's a list of don't eat this, don't eat this. Now, Ross, you have your own kind of weight loss story and things like that. So talk to me a little bit about what you've gone through.
So a bit of context, I was 21, 22 and my best friend had died. So spiraled into comfort eating. I comfort eat even now still, so I understand. I gained up to, I was nearly 140 kilo at one stage. So tried every diet, was vegan, went on a ketogenic diet. All in all, a calorie deficit is what worked, and just tracking food and stuff like that. So I think the importance of just logging, whether it's on pen and paper or on a calorie tracking app, it's the accountability. I think that's what everyone needs to focus on for these first 2 weeks anyway, regardless of whether it be stress or they're under eating or overeating. Having the accountability there on paper is good. Yeah.
Cool. And so you tried a lot of diets.
Everything, yeah.
And how did you get on with them? Did you lose weight?
Yeah, good and bad. Vegan diet, I was eating everything, so I ended up putting on weight, even though I was still heavy. Because you're going into the shops and you're seeing things and you're perceiving them as healthy. So, and even though it's vegan, you're like, oh, but you can still overeat, yeah. And then the ketogenic diet worked, but it was a lot of hassle. It was a lot of stress. I was checking my blood ketones every day, stressing out over whether I was in ketosis or not. One wrong meal would throw you out and stuff like that. But yeah, all in all, it was just a calorie deficit.
So that's the thing, is that what I've always found is that there are, it's funny, there's all these diet books and diets out there. And I've done seminars before and I have a slide on with all these different diet books, and there is they're so polar opposite, like you said, vegan and ketogenic, like basically eat fat and then eat basically vegetables and plants. But there's a diet called What Would Jesus Eat? And the Devil's Diet. That's how polarizing diet books are, diets are. So all diets can work for a short term, but you mentioned the keto diet, that it was hassle. Yeah. It's adding stress and hassle to your diet, and we don't want to your day, and we don't want to do that. We want to make it as easy as possible and to help you understand the principles of things. So in a nutshell, like you were kind of saying, is we want you to get into a habit of tracking and recording what you're doing, because if you don't do that, it's just blind guesswork. And as I said, as we're using the average weight, it's really important that people don't focus on the individual scale weight. Is to ignore that, and that's why we're getting you to input it, and then it disappears onto our spreadsheet. But we're going to then send you a 7-day average, and that's the number we're going to be focusing on. That way then is you're taking out all this water fluctuations and things like that. What I want to do then is look at the results to expect. So generally, you don't do a calculation, but it's 0.5 to 0.75% of your body weight per week. So for someone like, let's say Ross, we calculated that about 500 to 800 grams a week, which is just over between a pound or two, right? Now, when we say a pound or two,
it's a pound.
That's a pound of body fat, an exact replica of human body fat.
Yeah.
One of the big things that we see people, and you've gone through it yourself with your own experiences, you get disheartened.
Yeah, for sure.
Either it's too hard to stick to, or your weight goes up. So with the average weight, we're going to remove that thing. But if your average weight is down by a pound, that's how much fat we're losing. It's a significant amount. So you should never, ever, ever say, I only lost a pound.
Even half a pound.
Even chop that in half. It's still a significant number. And if you did that every week and you got 3 of these chunks off your body, that's a significant thing. Now, here's the thing, is you can lose weight faster, which it's water weight, it's muscle weight, it's not healthy weight, it's not effective, it's going to be put on very quickly. So that's why we're not, giving this, here's a meal plan to follow, and here's a very aggressive diet to try and lose as much weight in 6 weeks as possible. That's not what it's about. Not sustainable, exactly. We want to teach the members sustainability,
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. A sustainable plan that you, when you finish this program, you're not, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
It's, oh, I'm just going to keep going. I'm a nice kind of routine of how to eat and what to eat.
I think this approach that everybody's going to be taking now over the next 6 weeks is very sustainable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. And that's what we're going to kind of teach them. So talk to me about the habits we're going to work on.
So initially, tracking your food, doing your daily weigh-ins. We're going to incorporate then some protein. So emphasize protein intake. Then we'll bring in some veg. We're going to focus then on exercise and some stress management then as well.
So when we're looking at the protein and veg, why are we eating more of that?
Just to be full. Like it's impossible to eat your daily calories in carrots, you know. So bulking up your plate is going to help feeling full. It's going to reduce cravings. You won't be down at the fridge at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, trying to find something to snack on. So yeah, it's important. Same with protein. Adding just an extra chicken fillet or so.
Yeah.
Fish.
And we'll
those
talk
little
about
things.
those next week.
Yeah.
And we're going to set them as habits so that you can really simply kind of go, okay, yes, I'm doing this and I'm eating more protein, eating more. And again, why are we doing this? It's so you're not hungry.
Yeah.
Or we're going to try and minimize hunger as much as possible. So hunger can be the enemy of trying to lose weight. And most aggressive diets make people far too hungry because it's, don't eat this, you're removing all the foods that you like eating and you have to start eating stuff that you don't normally eat and so on and so forth. So again, coming back to this week, just write down what you normally eat. That's it. Eat what you normally eat. Don't try and overhaul your diet or anything like that. And then we'll work on hunger as we're going. So when I've done challenges like this before, the big thing is that people are different in terms of how hunger affects them. So, and then different foods affect different people as well. So we're going to kind of help them identify how to be more full.
It's also very important that people listen to their own bodies and eat the right foods. If not, you're stressed, you're inflamed, your digestion slows down. So it's good to
but that's the individual
Yeah.
side of things as well. And that is, like, I've seen people, they told me if I eat porridge, I'm full for lunchtime, and then other people, if I eat porridge, I'm starving by 11 o'clock. So, like I said, it's like it's an individual thing that just because you look at a friend of yours or someone else and they followed this diet and that worked for them or that worked for them, doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And that's why we can't give you a diet, because I don't know what's going to work for you. I always say, it's like somebody will ask, why can't I get a meal plan? It's like, well, I don't know if you're going to be hungry at 3 o'clock on Monday. So how can we give them, kind of a set structure like that? And there's no sustainability in something like that where you have to follow what someone else is telling you.
John, just touch back on the results to expect over the course of these 6 weeks for everybody.
Cool. So like I said, it's roughly between 0.5 and 0.75% of your body weight. So again, if you're 80 kilos, 0.5% of that is 400 grams, or roughly a pound a week, right? So the reason why we're doing that is to ensure we're losing fat and we're not losing weight too quickly, because there's a limit to how much fat your body can actually burn in a day. And just to kind of come back to our pound of fat, that's 3,500 calories worth of stored energy on your body. And I think a big thing as well is people don't realize that when we're losing weight, we're just losing energy. We're losing stored energy on the body, and we're burning that off. Now we'll come to the exercise things down the line, but we can't burn off 3,500 calories a week with exercise. It's just impossible to do. So we have to change it from our diet when we're doing it. So when we're looking at your results and we get your average weight, like I said at the start, if it's down, you're on track. Now, depending on how much it's down by and the type of results you're looking for, we can then advise you on, okay, what do we need to change in order to speed it up, if you want to speed it up, or we keep going what we're going. Or if it's not down, then we know what you did didn't work, which is really good feedback. And I think that's a big thing, that people get disheartened if they get a bad result. It's one of the reasons why we want to do the average weight and not an individual scale weight measurement, so it takes out the noise of water fluctuations and things like that. But also as well as, if after week 1 you're the exact same average weight, well, that's great result, because we now know what you ate during that week kept you at that weight, so you must eat a little bit less. And then we have information to kind of work on. As I said, I know, if you started your keto diet again tomorrow, you're going to lose a crap load of weight in week 1. But it's not going to be sustainable any way, shape or form. So that's what we want to do, is looking at the results, depending on where you're starting from in terms of your scale weight, what to expect, so you don't get disheartened if you're expecting 2 pounds a week. As I said, like Ross shouldn't even be losing more than 2 pounds a week. So don't get disheartened when you only see 0.5 pound. And then, as I said, is the results when you get your average weight are what dictate what you should eat. It's not the other way around, which I think everyone gets wrong. It's the diet that they put far too much focus on rather than, well, what actually results are we getting?
I also want to branch out a little bit on that. I don't think people should be putting any fear towards any foods. Yeah, I think it's very important that people aren't afraid to have a takeaway, to have a pint, to have a square of chocolate. Yeah.
Oh, it's a big thing, because the one thing I'll kind of look at is when we look at food, people think that there are fattening foods and foods
good
that
and bad
are
foods,
good and bad foods, healthy and so on. I've actually sat beside people, and you've done as well, and people tell us, oh, well, I eat very healthily. And it's like, that's got nothing to do with actual fat loss, because fat loss isn't about, when you lose fat, you are becoming healthier, but you don't have to eat healthy to lose fat. You could just starve yourself and you will lose weight. And I think the big thing with it is that if I ate a teaspoon of sugar, but that's the only thing I ate every day for a week, 1 teaspoon of sugar, it's 20 calories. I'm going to lose a lot of weight. Now, I'm not going to feel great doing it, but sugar isn't fattening. Now, if I ate 2 teaspoons, I'll still lose weight. If I ate 3 teaspoons, I'll still lose weight. So again, it's not even the quantity of sugar. It's your overall diet. I like to kind of describe it as a bird's eye view. We're zooming out. So like you said, is that one takeaway in isolation isn't good or bad or anything like that. Now, if you have 7 takeaways a week, you're probably going to make it hard for yourself to eat under the amount of calories that you're burning off. But a smart choice of a takeaway, some chocolates, some crisps, and so on and so forth, can all be part of a plan. And that's where the sustainability side of things comes in, because if you get to eat whatever you want to eat, as long as you know it's the right amount. And we will bring in awareness into portion sizes and so on coming through the program. But again, there's no point in getting people to overly weigh, measure, track things like that when you don't know what's going to work for you yet, or where you need to go yet. And then the last thing I want to say on that, when I kind of say is you can eat a teaspoon of sugar or olive oil or whatever, it's not fattening. Actually, you won't gain weight over the course of a week if that's all you're eating, because you're under your calories. Actually, every time you eat, you actually go into storage mode. So even if you just ate lettuce, your body would actually store some fat, because there's fat floating around your bloodstream. So every time you eat, you store fat, because you can't not. But there is no such thing as a fattening food, specifically because it's the overall context. And that's where we kind of think is you can eat what you want. It's just we have to make sure the right amounts are coming in.
It's also okay to feel hungry sometimes.
Yes. It's, again, kind of, we're going to work on the hunger side of things with the protein and veg kind of coming through next week, and we'll talk about that. But also as well as getting okay that just because you're hungry a little bit, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to get to eat again. I'm not starving myself. There are diets surrounded, or kind of diets made up of like fasting, where we just don't eat for 24 hours and so on and things like that. So all things can work, but we're going to kind of say is, on the main thing is, let's not get too hungry or uncontrollable hunger. But then if you are a little bit hungry, is to be, well, that's fine, I can just eat. You know, and it's not the end of the world. You're not trying not to eat or to starve yourself or something like that. So to kind of reiterate on everything is, week 1 is you must track everything you're doing. Put in your daily weight, tick it off on the habit tracker, write in your journal what you're eating. That way then you have information, and that information then we can adjust and assess and help get the best results. But without that, we don't get anything. So this is about habits, it's about consistency, it's about showing up, doing what we recommend you guys to do. All good?
Yeah.
Any questions, let us know.